So we were just days away from Rose Namajunas versus Amanda Ribas fight night on March 23rd, I believe, which means it's time for me to break down every single fight on this star-studded card. Let me tell you, these fights not only catch the eye, they fully leap off the page. I'm joking. This fight night card is trash, and they are making us stay up normal pay-per-view time, 8 p.m. prelim start, 10 p.m. main card start, so I cannot wait to be up till past midnight at least to watch Namajunas possibly win. Can't wait. Let me stop waffling and get into my full card breakdown. So with the first fight, we got Muhammad Usman versus Mick Parkins. A really high-level heavyweight fight. I cannot wait to see this one. Again, I am joking. Muhammad Usman might be one of the worst heavyweights I've ever seen. Mick Parkin, nothing to write home about either. He nearly lost to Cal Machado. Mo Usman, though, you will not find me picking this guy ever. It's like a vendetta at this point. I will pick against him until he loses. He is nothing, and I hate this guy. And Mick Parkin, undefeated. He's got at least 30 pounds on Muhammad Usman. Muhammad Usman's a smaller heavyweight. They have around the same reach. Muhammad Usman was losing to Jay Collier that first round until he kicked him in the dick and poked him in the eye. And that's a complete momentum shift. If he doesn't do that to Mick Parkins should be able to grind a decision out like he usually does. So that'll be the pick. Mick Parkin by decision, first pick. Up to the next fight, up the card, we got Igor Severino versus Andre Lima. This is both of these fighters' UFC debut. Igor's 8-0, Andre Lima's 7-0. So they're both coming off of wins on Dana White Contender Series. However, Andre Lima, he went to a decision, and Igor Severino was able to find a finish by knockout in the second round of that fight. I think I'm liking the dog here of Igor Severino. There's not much to go off of either, but I am seeing Andre Lima lost due to a doctor stoppage on the regional scene. He has a pretty big scar on his eyebrow. That's not something to I don't think he's going to break that eyebrow open again or anything, but he's taking that much damage on the regional scene, and Igor has like a 2-inch reach advantage, which is nothing substantial, but it's an advantage. And again, there's not much to go off of here, so let's see how they perform in the octagon. But I think I'll take the money line of Igor. I like the underdog pick there. I'll go Igor Severino, and I think it does go to a decision. There might be some mix-up of grappling in here too, but I don't see Andre Lima getting finished. I'll say Igor Severino by decision will be the official pick. Up to the next fight up the card, we got Montserrat Rendon versus Daria Zelezniakova. Nailed it. Montserrat Rendon 6-0. Daria Zelezniakova, 8-1 from Russia, obviously. Both of their UFC debuts as well. So a couple things here, despite both of them being UFC newcomers. Well, I guess Montserrat Rendon has actually had one UFC fight, She fought Tamiris Vidal to a decision on UFC. She's a decision merchant, all 6 of her fights coming by decision. She's 35 years of age. She didn't start training till 2020. I don't like that a lot. She didn't start training MMA till she was 31 years old. I don't like that at all. Daria actually has more MMA experience despite being 28, 7 years younger. She has been a fighter longer than Montserrat Rendon somehow. Daria coming off of a KO win in a minute 30. She has more finishing potential here, obviously, because she has 5 knockouts, and Montserrat hasn't never finished a fight ever. She's 6-0, all 6 wins coming by decision. She's 35 years of age. Daria is younger, more fights, more experience than her despite being younger, and I think that's definitely why Montserrat's the 2.8 times underdog. It makes sense if you really look into it. Daria will get this done. Stephen Nugent's coming off of a round 2 KO on Dana White Contender Series over AJ Cunningham. Jarno Aaron's 2 back-to-back decision losses, one to Sungwoo Choi, one to William Gomes. His last win was outside of the UFC to Alisher Abdudolev. I hope I'm saying that right. Fuck. Stephen Nugent I think he has more potential here. He had to go through 2 Dana White Contender Series fights back to back to even earn his shot in the UFC. Won both of them. First one by decision. Second one he got the finish and the contract. I don't think he's losing here. He did actually have a third time on Dana White Contender Series back in 2019. He lost that by KO, but he had to work his way back. Jarno Aarons, though, he's losing to Sungwoo Choi, William Gomi, random dudes outside of the UFC that, like, I haven't even heard of before. I'll go Steven Nugent. Now, does he get a finish over Jarno Aarons, who doesn't even have a knockout loss on his record yet? It's a tough call. He's been submitted before. He's lost a decision, but he's never been knocked out. And how old is he? He is 29 years old. I'm doing it on my computer this week, a little different than usual instead of writing everything down. Steven Nugent's 30 years old. I'll go with him by decision. I will. I think Jarno Aarons is a little too gritty. He does have a chin on him. And yeah, I don't see Steven Nugent putting him out. I think Steve Nugent winning the decision is the official pick. On to the next fight up the card, which is not Luciano versus Pilastri. Luciano pulled out of that fight, I believe. We actually got Miles Johns versus Cody Gibson. Next fight up the card. Miles Johns 13-2. Cody Gibson's 19-9. Cody Gibson's coming off of his, I think it was a decision win over Jason Knight. It was Kurt Holloway. He beat Jason Knight on tough by finish. I remember it now. Cody Gibson versus Miles Johns. Miles Johns, 29 years of age, coming off of a win over Vince Morales. Lost to John Castaneda by submission, triangle choke before that. Cody Gibson, though, he actually had an injury on tough that he fought through and won. Oh, it wasn't even Kurt Holloway. I'm tripping. He lost to Brad Katona. That's who he lost to. It wasn't Kurt Holloway. They're different weight classes, aren't they? He lost to Brad Katona, which is terrible because Brad Katona just lost to, can't even remember dude's name on UFC 297. I'm blanking right now. That was a terrible fight, though. That was a very bad fight. He's lost to Ray Borg in the past and Eagle FC, Adrian Diaz. The lines are surprisingly close in this fight. I just checked Miles Johns only minus 120 compared to Cody Gibson's plus 120. I don't think it's that tough. I think Cody Gibson isn't as good as Miles Johns, and he's lost 5 decisions in his career. Miles Johns won 7. This is going to a decision. Miles Johns winning by decision. That's the official pick. Next fight up the card, we got Ricardo Ramos versus Julian Erosa. Ricardo Ramos is 16-5. Julian Erosa is 28-11. Ramos, 28 years old, coming off of a round 1 guillotine choke loss to Charles Jourdain. Before that, he has a KO win over Danny Chavez, and then he lost to Zubaro Tukagov and beat Bill Algeo by decision. Julian Erosa is 34 years old and coming off of 2 back-to-back KO losses. Got KO'd by Fernando Padilla and Alex Caceres, both in the first round of that fight. Before that, had 3 back-to-back wins. Beat Charles Jourdain, beat Steven Peterson, beat Hakeem Dawodu. For some reason, it's not on DraftKings, so we'll see if it actually happens or not. But I think Ricardo Ramos gets a bounce back here. He has 4 KO wins to his name, and I think he is going to be able to finish Julian Erosa here. I think he does get a knockout win over Julian Erosa. I'll call a round 2 knockout win. I think round 1 might be... Actually, I won't be a contrarian here. His past 4 knockouts are by round 1. Or sorry, his past 3 finishes are by round 1 finish. I'll say he does get another round 1 knockout here. Official pick, Ricardo Ramos by knockout. And next fight up the card, we got Trey Ogden versus Kurt Holloway in the featured prelim bout of the night. Jesus, that's terrible. My God, they got the featured prelim bout. Trey Ogden's 34 years of age. 0 KO wins, 11 submission wins, 5 decision wins, 3 losses by decision, and 3 losses by submission. Coming off a decision loss to Ignacio Bahamondes, beat Daniel Zellhuber by decision the fight before that. Lost to split decision to Jordan Levitt. Kurt Holloway, 20-7. That record does not sound good. He is 37 years of age. Jeez. 7 KO wins, 10 submissions, 3 decision wins. Coming off of a second round triangle choke win over Austin Hubbard. He beat Jason Knight by KO on The Ultimate Fighter. Trey Ogden's been submitted 3 times in his career, twice in KC Fighting Alliance and once in LFA, but all of them are a round 1 submission. Kurt Hollabas, 10 submission wins to his name. This might be a terrible pick, I don't know. We're going with a submission. Kurt Hollabas is going to submit Trey Ogden, isn't he? I think I'll go Kurt Hollabas by a round 2 or round 3 submission. I will say he will get the round 2 submission will be the official pick. Next fight up the card, we got Fernando Padilla versus Louis Pajejo. 8-1 Louis Pajejo. Fernando Padilla 15-5. So Louis Pajejo 8-1, coming off of a KO win on Dana White Contender Series. He knocked out Robbie Ring in the first round. Fernando Padilla is coming off of a unanimous decision loss to Kyle Nelson. He really didn't look that good in that fight at all. He beat Julian Erosa the fight before by a round 1 KO. Louis Pajejo, lots of finishes. He has 2 back-to-back KO wins. Had a decision before that, then 2 more back-to-back KO wins. 7 of his wins out of 8 are KO wins. Fernando Padilla has never been KO'd. He has 5 decision losses. Does Louis Pajejo put out Fernando Padilla? I like the underdog of Pajejo here. Fernando Padilla was pretty terrible against Kyle Nelson. I guess Kyle Nelson is an actual established UFC fighter, has quite a few fights under his belt. So maybe I will go Fernando Padilla. Here. He's going to learn from that loss. He's only 27 years old. And Louis is only 29. Fernando Padilla, I will say, wins a decision here. This could age terribly. I might change this later in the week. We will see how I feel. For now, I'll go Fernando Padilla by decision. Next fight up the card, we got Billy Quarantillo versus Yusuf Zalal. So Yusuf Zalal, 13-5, and 5 of his losses, all 5 of them by decision, coming off of a round 1 submission win. Before that, round 2 KO win. That was a kickboxing fight. Billy Quarantillo coming off a decision win over Damon Jackson. He got knocked out by Edson Barboza in round 1 before that. Yusuf Zalal trains at a really good gym. And this is UFC debut. He's going to really want this win. 27 years of age, 75 inches of reach. Billy Quarantillo, I know he's a bit older. He's 35 years old. And in the reach department, there's a 5-inch reach disadvantage for Billy Quarantillo. I think Yusuf Zalal will be able to find his mark on the feet. Not find a finish, but he will be able to put up a decisive, unanimous decision win, I believe, mixing up his grappling, and he will be leading Billy Quarantillo on the feet. I'll say I like the underdog here. I'll take Yusuf Zalal, money line. We'll take Yusuf Zalal by unanimous decision. Will be the official pick. Up to the next fight up the card. Interesting here. Peyton Talbot versus Cameron Simon. Peyton Talbot is the underdog, and I completely disagree with the lines made there. Peyton Talbot has 1 UFC fight, right? And it was a pretty close, it wasn't even a decision. What am I thinking of? It was his Contender Series fight I'm thinking of. So he's coming off of a round 3 submission win over Nick Aguirre. He was actually losing the start of that fight, though. This is what I'm thinking of. He lost the first round of that fight. He had to be kind of coached in his corner. Come on, man. You just have to put it together. You just have to take him down. He was losing on the feet to Nick Aguirre. He had to take him down, control him, find that submission in the 3rd round. Cameron Simon's coming off of a loss to the weight bully, right? Christian Rodriguez. Yup. Can't believe, oh my God, don't even get me started on that. He's coming off of a loss to Christian Rodriguez. Before that, though, he has 3 UFC wins, 2 by knockout, 1 by decision. Beat Terrence Mitchell, Mana Martinez, and Steven Kozlow. Man, I don't know why Peyton Talbot is the favorite here. I think that's easy money. Cameron Simon's going to be dog of the week. He's going to be dog of the week. Cameron Simon's going to be dog of the week for sure. Payne Talbot is undefeated, but he nearly lost that fight before he put it together again. Who's Nick Aguirre? Cameron Simon's actually an established name. That's his first loss ever against Christian Rodriguez, who came in 3 pounds overweight, and he never weighs in the actual weight. He always is overweight, ruining prospects by either weighing overweight or getting a robbery decision. I'm upset. I hate Christian Rodriguez. I think Cameron Simon's easy money here. We'll go Cameron Simon decision. That's the play. Cameron Simon, underdog of the week for sure. Next fight up the card, we got Edmund Shabazian versus AJ Dobson. Edmund's 12-4. AJ is 7-2. Edmund's had a tough go the past few years in the UFC. He's coming off of a round 3 KO ground and pound loss to Anthony Hernandez, Fluffy. He beat Dalcha Lungiambula. Before that, he lost to Nazarin Mavov by ground and pound, elbows from crucifix. He lost to Jack Hermanson, lost to Derek Brunson. He's only 26, though. AJ Dobson only has 2 losses, and he's 32 years old. But Edmund at 26 getting all those losses to really established names, I got to imagine he's getting better, and he's probably not too chinny yet. Those are all TKO ground and pound things, like he can't defend himself on the ground. Different than getting chinned. AJ Dobson's losing to Jacob Malkoun by decision, Armin Petrosian by decision. I think Edmund Shabazian will be able to get it done. And I will pick a decision. AJ Dobson's never been finished. I don't think he will get... Oh, wait. These lines are crazy. Shabazian's minus 200. That doesn't make sense. With that being said, I will go Shabazian by decision, subject to change. I might change that later in the week to a finish. We'll see how I feel. Next fight up the card. We've got the co-main event. Carl Williams versus Justin Tafa. Let me check the lines real quick. I need to see what the lines are for this. Carl Williams minus 190. Tafa's plus 2.6. Carl Williams 9-1. I get it. 34 years of age. He beat Chase Sherman by decision in his last fight. Lucas Bresky, Jimmy Lawson. He's only had 3 UFC fights, though. He's not an established name. Justin Tafa is only 7-3. I get it. 30 years of age. 7 of those wins are by KO. All of his wins are by KO. I'm taking Tafa. I'm taking Tafa. You're not going to catch me not... Come on. Come on. It's Carl Williams. Why is he a minus 200? It's Carl Williams. He's only had 3 UFC fights. It's not like he's crazy good. It's not like he's showing off amazing talent or anything. Tafa lost to Jared Vandera and Carlos Felipe and Jorgen De Castro. You'll get it, but he's gotten a lot better since then. He is only beating like pretty terrible people too, but he is knocking them out. And Carl Williams, he's not doing that in most of his fights. He's going to a decision with Jimmy Lawson and Lucas Bresky. How did he get a contract going to a decision on Dana White Contender Series with a random Jimmy Lawson who was 4-1 at the time? That's not a good record. I'm taking Justin Tafa, and we're going with a round 1 KO over Carl Williams. I think we're going to ride this train till it falls off the tracks. Exactly. Main event time. We got Amanda Ribas versus Rose Namajunas. Guys, if Rose loses, there's something wrong. Not only with me, not only with Rose, but just with the UFC in general. If Rose Namajunas cannot beat Amanda Ribas, I quit. It's that simple. Amanda Ribas 12-4, 3 losses by KO. She's very chinny. 1 loss by decision. Macy Barber ground and pound finished her. She lost to Caitlin Sermonara or Chukagan by decision. Marina Rodriguez was able to finish her by punches in the second round. Polyana Viana was able to knock her out. And Polyana Viana, this was in 2015. She's been a jiu-jitsu girl like most of her entire career. She's just now kind of learning striking. She got KO'd by Polyana Viana. Rose Namajunas 11-6 coming off of a decision loss to Manon Fiorot. She broke her finger in the first round of that fight. Continued. She might have won that third round, I think. One of the later rounds she did win even with the broken finger. Carlos Braza, she lost a split decision. Pretty terrible fight. I think she got complacent. She got too in her own head. She thought she was executing her game plan to the full potential, but she was not. She was just jabbing every 3 minutes. But, you got to look at the positives. You got to look at her knocking out Weili Zhang in a minute 15. She knocked out Joanna Werdzik in 3 minutes of that fight. When Rose is good, she's really good. She said it herself. She's the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. When she's good, she's the best. Will she be the best this Saturday? If she doesn't, you heard it here. I just put everything on the line. Amanda Ribas, no fucking way she's going to beat Rose Namajunas. There's not a chance. She was losing to Luana Pinheiro before that spinning wheel kick in the third round. This pretty much is, will Rose Namajunas KO her, or will it go to a boring decision that Rose point fights her and wins, which I don't like the sounds of. I hope Rose should be in her element here, and every one of the KO losses that she has suffered, Amanda Ribas, though they were all around 2 KOs, except for that one by Polyana Viana in the first round, which is absolutely nuts. I'll go with a round 2 KO for Rose Namajunas. I will be very upset if she loses. There's not a chance, right? There's not a chance, right? This is a safe pick. This is free. She's only minus 200. So that's a hammer play. Those are all the fights. If you like these picks, give me a follow. More content coming here soon. Let's go.